is Hay-on-Wye. Not this, this is a car park. Right, this is Hay-on-Wye. This is a town, a book town of bookshops. It is, I don't know where Hay is. I mean, I know exactly where it is, but it's on the border of England and Wales, and it's technically in Herefordshire, which is actually where I'm from originally, and also kind of in Wales as well. But I think they call it the Booktown of Wales, and every other shop is a bookshop. We're here on a Sunday, but every bookshop's still open, which is really unusual for the UK. And just behind me, we're gonna go into Addyman. So one of the best things about Hay is how beautiful it is. And like, you can come here for books, but you can go anywhere for books. But this town merges books with what books kind of aesthetically represent. You have this kind of old English traditional vibe. I think this is what you call a Tudor aesthetic. And like, you've got a real mix of old stone buildings, like really traditional medieval buildings like these over here. And then you've got this fantastic Tudor building, this Hay-on-Wye booksellers, which I'm going to pop into now. The Hay is just... it's a calming atmosphere. It's eccentric, it's eclectic, it's electric, it's other ectrics. And you just don't get anything like it. And I think when you're shopping for books, and if you romanticize books the way that I do, there really isn't anywhere else you should ever go to but Hay-on-Wye. So, I'm going to pop into the Hay-on-Wye booksellers. It's staggering to think how many books are all in one place in this town. Because there are about 30 booksellers in this whole town. So this is just one example, but there are annexes all the way through this shop that are just like this one, where you've got books just strewn across the floor, shelves everywhere. It looks awkwardly yellow because of my camera settings. I'm not good at being a techno person, that's why I'm surrounded by books. And I mean, look at the state of jazz right now. Look at her, squatting on the floor, looking at paper. It's my happy world. Change the settings, not yellow anymore. Stupid world. And because there's so many booksellers in Hay, what that means is that you can have a bookseller has the opportunity to put whatever categories in that they want. So right here you've got a category that just says small pets. So if you want to read a book about small pets, like parakeets or snails, well, you can come here. You can come and join me down here, where we've got books like the Jesus Papyrus or the Jesus Conspiracy. Huh, actually sounds quite interesting. Strange man on the floor looking at books about Jesus, just scared some children away, like they ran. And this whole section says sci-fi, but it's the kind of like Michael Moorcock kind of sci-fi that you probably haven't heard of. And also like old Star Wars books that sadly aren't relevant anymore. And Anne Rice. Look at this. What a cover. Like, I'm not gonna read it, but it's a nice cover. And now we get into my section. Look at this. Chinese and Japanese environmental and cultural history. That's my shit. That's my drug of choice. Look how lovely Hay is. This town is so pretty. English paradise. Look at this. Old market hall. Old medieval market hall. It's not a market hall anymore. Although we did come here a few months ago, last time we were in the UK, and this market hall thing was full of little vendors, and Jess bought some kimchi. Locally made traditional Korean kimchi. And it was like way more spicy than your average kimchi. It's not just bookshops either. It's also oddities. I like oddities. I love Hay. Don't you? I love Hay. Do you love Hay? Brilliant, she loves it too. We're having a good time. of old pubs. Look at this. Look at these ancient beams. This is a stone fireplace built in 1600. Oof, look at this. Oh, I love an old pub. Richard Booth was the man who created Hay-on-Wye as it stands today as a book town. And he's kind of the self-imposed king of Hay. There's a crown. This is Richard Booth's bookshop, and as it says on the floor here, I don't know if you can see it, the world's largest second-hand bookshop. I'm not sure if that's strictly true anymore, but it's still fantastic. I love it in here. I can spend hours in here just for how it looks. Let's take a little wander. This is the shop you come to Hay for. If you have to come for one shop and one shop only, it's this one. It's an incredible place. Right now I'm upstairs. A little attic kind of annex where most of the literature is. Most of the second-hand literature. And like, I don't have anything scripted. I just love it here. Words fail me at places like this, you know. You're in a bookshop. There's an awful lot of words. And I don't have any for places like this. They're just such wholesome, kind places. Bookshops like this one. And they make creaky noises. And they smell like old wood. And this is where you discover magic, you know. Real magic, still just flowing through the shelves. This is where you can't not be happy. Or even if you're having a bad day, you'll feel content in a place like this. I love it. This is the Hay Cinema Bookshop. So we come to Hay a lot. Whenever we, Jess and I come home to visit my parents because they live close to Hay, we always pop to Hay. And the Hay Cinema Bookshop's usually like the last stop on our route, just because it's the one that's like the most out of the way, because it's a whole like 300 meters outside of the center of town. But Hay is really tiny. And the Hay Cinema Bookshop is an old cinema. And if you walk in, your footsteps creak so loud on the floorboards that it echoes through the whole room, and it's just part of the tone and the aesthetic of the whole place. It's fantastic. So we're going to go in now. Great thing about it is every book, I think the way that they do it, it's one of those kind of wholesaler places where they get a huge stock in of a particular book from a particular publisher, and they sell every copy of that book for £2 or £3. Really great place to go if you're looking for some classics of science fiction or just classics. So if you're ever thinking like, oh, I could really do with 20 new SF Masterworks books from Gollancz, then this is the kind of place that you come, because everywhere you look, you'll find some. They're everywhere. And you can probably see that a lot of things are in bulk, like you'll have 20 copies of the same book, and they're incredibly cheap. They're new. And these all vintage. So there's a type here. It's kind of hard to explain what that type is, but quite often we come here and end up buying like something like this. So these are all ghost stories or old horror stories, and here is a huge selection of Wordsworth classics. So these are all mostly old English literature, like Dickens or Thomas Hardy. Oh, I'm just looking now, there's the Iliad here, James Joyce, not English, but George Eliot, Silas Marner, good book, Great Gatsby. Yeah, old classics. These are the Wordsworth classics, and they fill up this entire section. This is where you come if you want them for £2 or £3. Alright, so people come from all around the world to come to Hay-on-Wye because it's a book town, and it's the best book town in the world. And this shop here, Murder and Mayhem, is one of the best shops, and I've talked to people who've actually come all the way from the US or Australia or parts of Europe to visit this shop specifically. It's awesome. Let's have a look. So Murder Mayhem is a bookshop that focuses pretty much exclusively on crime fiction and thrillers and some horror fiction, which sits in its own little cubby at the top of the stairs. And this place is very, very unique, even as Hay-on-Wye booksellers go. And people really do come from all over the world to come here because of the way that it's decorated and because it is a very specific niche bookshop, and it's just atmospheric and dark in just the right way, where it's not being overblown and it still has substance to it. I'm going to find something awesome to take away with me. So every bookshop we've gone to today, I've gone, oh, this is the unique one, or this is the cool one, or this is the reason you come to Hay, blah blah blah. But Addyman, oh my god, look at that, this is terrifying. Takes the biscuit for being like dedicated to genre. So this is the Goth Room with the goth stuff, and you've got gothic horror stories, and you've got some crime fiction and steampunk settings in Victorian London, etc. And then you come out and it's not gothy anymore. Oh, and it's a lovely corridor. And then you go down through the lovely corridor. I'm fine. And then you get into the dark fantasy room. So you've got King Arthur stories and myths and fables and fantasy, Norse myths, Greek tales. Yeah, this is the mythology corner. So it's dark and it's dusty and it's all mythy and fantasy-y, and it's really cool. So my friend Deborah was talking about this book the other day. I'm just going to name drop the fact that my friend Deborah, Booker Prize winning translator of The Vegetarian, is my friend. Hi Deborah, my friend. She was talking about this and I haven't read it. Kind of a retelling of the story of King Arthur, and this version has a very, it's wrapped in plastic, there you go, very campy, ridiculous cover, and I think I'm gonna buy it. So we've come out of the, what was it, the Goth Room, and then the fantasy folklore room, and now we're in the classic literature, this is what I want my fucking living room to look like room, where it's got wing-back chairs where you can relax and read classics like Jess is doing. It's great, so it's all classics and it's all the ones that are lovely, bound in binding that's nice. Alright, while I've got you here, one of the best things about this bookshop, I haven't been able to find this anywhere else, is you know those penguin mugs or penguin t-shirts or penguin tote bags where it has penguin classic covers drawn on them? In this particular bookshop they have that, but they've done it where it's got Welsh puns. For example, this one, they've got Cwtch me if you can. Cwtch in Welsh is cuddle, so it's a pun. And then they've got from Bayeux to eternity. And Bayeux means here in Welsh, but they never say here, they say Bayeux. And you don't say there, they say Byddeur. So it's a funny thing that they put on cushions. Alright, bye.